Today we are chatting with Anthony Tassoni, a local pharmacist and member of as many boards across City of Casey. We have many questions for Anthony and hope to learn much more about his chosen profession and interests.
If side effects had personalities, what in your opinion would be a drama queen?
So there is this eye drop that is used for glaucoma, and the drug name's called latanoprost, and it's got this really odd side effect where it thickens your eyelashes.
Like Hannah.
Yeah, so it can thicken your eyelashes as a side effect. Doesn't happen for many people, but it can happen. Thinking about your question, I sort of am reminded of like a nagging child, and that could cause a headache. So the nagging child maybe causes the headache, or the headache is a example of a side effect taking on the personality of a kid going over the top. But that's a really good question.
How many years do you have to study to become a pharmacist?
So to become a pharmacist, you have to go to university for 4 years. And then after that 4 years, you do an internship for 1 year. So it's like an apprenticeship after your university degree. And you can do that internship in a community pharmacy, which is like a pharmacy you see at the high street or shopping centre, or some people do it in a hospital pharmacy. So 5 years altogether.
How do you know what advice to give to the person who needs the medication?
It depends on the person. So you have to tailor the advice you give depending on the person. So sometimes people might be getting a medicine for the first time, so you need to go through what it's used for and how to take it. And sometimes people can only remember so much information, so we need to make sure that we focus on the really important things. So don't overload people with too much information. And when you're talking to someone, it's really important to look at their non-verbal communication. So if they're nodding their head like you are and they've got eye contact like you do, you can see that they're engaged. But if they're a bit distracted or they're looking confused, you might have to slow it down or say it a different way.
Is it stressful to give out medication and knowing the doses at the same time?
It's a lot to know, and if you don't know, check. So there's some really good references and texts that you can get online, and we can check the doses and where the medicines go together and don't interact with each other. It's really important to get it right, and that's what a pharmacist's job is do. We're medicine experts and like a safety net before a patient gets their medicine that the doctor prescribed.
Was anyone in your family a pharmacist?
No, I'm the first pharmacist in my family, and in fact, the first health professional in my family. My dad worked for the hospital, but he was a manager, administrator.
What's the difference between a pharmacist like yourself and just some doctor?
Doctors undertake training in diagnosis and body systems, as well as prescribing medicines for patients. And pharmacists do learn around diagnosis and body systems as well, but we focus more of our training on the medicines themselves and what are safe doses and what goes with what. Doctors can prescribe medicines and diagnose more conditions than what pharmacists can. But pharmacists are doing more and more of that these days with some training, like we're prescribing things, antibiotics for particular infections. We give vaccinations to people. So the main difference is doctors can prescribe and diagnose for more conditions than what pharmacists can. And then some doctors specialise and do more training to be a specialist in a particular area, like a skin doctor or a doctor for the brain, a neurologist.
What do you think the future of pharmaceuticals and will be in the future?
Pharmacists, I think, will be doing more things, like being able to prescribe medicines for more conditions. So I mentioned before around antibiotics for certain infections, like it could be for ear infections or urinary tract infections, or prescribing things for high blood pressure and diabetes. So pharmacists will be able to give medicines and prescribe and recommend things for more conditions for more people. So that will happen more. So people have trouble getting into doctors these days. There's only so many doctors around. So if pharmacists do more training, they can get, patients can get into see someone more easily at their local pharmacy. I think in the future there will be medicines that what we call personalised medicine, things that are more dosed and designed for an individual person that to treat their individual needs. So it'll be like a customised type thing. And one other thing I'd say about what pharmacists do these days is it's kind of like Back to the Future, where back in the old days, pharmacies would make up creams from scratch. They'd make up things from, rather than just getting things in a tube or a tub delivered to their pharmacy, they'd make it up. More and more pharmacies do that these days, as on special order and demand from doctors for people. So that's what pharmacies are going to be doing more so in the future.
What is your proudest moment from your career in working in pharmacy?
There was a young lady a few years ago that came into the pharmacy, and she was studying to be a pharmacist, and she said that she remembers as a younger girl coming into the pharmacy, and I served her mum about medicines for their family, and she just remembers how interested she was and how important it was that her family got those medicines and her mum was taking them for a particular condition, and from that moment on she wanted to become a pharmacist. So there was something that happened that day that got her interested, and she followed through with her dream. So that was really cool.
Now, I'm just wondering, how would you handle angry customers that would come into the pharmacy?
The first thing you don't do is don't say to someone, calm down. People don't want to hear that. I think what's important is you let people speak and be heard, and make sure you're engaged with them and you're letting them say what they need to say, and you acknowledge their concerns. You can say things like, I understand why you're upset. I'm sorry that that's happened for you. And it's about having empathy. And if you can do that, it helps de-escalate or calm down most situations. But the first thing you don't do is say, you got to calm down, because that can get people defensive. So it's important to listen and acknowledge when someone's not happy.
If a customer came in and they only had like 5-10 minutes and they were, angry, and they were speaking in a, rough like tone, you could hear it in them. You as the employer, you would still give them empathy and still be kind to them.
Yeah, you try your best to do so. If someone is overstepping the line and getting abusive or putting someone's safety at risk, you might need to intervene and say, look, I'm sorry, I'm going to need to ask you to leave because we need to be safe for other people in the pharmacy and my staff. Let's speak about this outside, but try and keep yourself calm. Don't yell or raise your voice over theirs, and most of the time that will work well.
What organisation are you a board member for, and what is your favourite?
I am involved with quite a few different groups. I am a national board member of the Pharmacy Guild of Australia, which is a union that represents the owners of community pharmacies. There's 6,000 pharmacies across Australia, and it's a primary healthcare destination that is most visited by people across Australia, so that's really cool. I am also on the board of a local community centre called Balla Balla Community Centre that does a lot of great work in the community in having classes and things for people to learn and childcare, so that's really great. I'm also on an advisory committee for the Collingwood Football Club. Don't hold that against me, Collingwood Football Club, but that's a passion of mine because I'm a Collingwood supporter, and I'm also on something called the Casey Residents and Ratepayers Association, so gives local community people a voice with our local government or local council. So I love a different thing about all of those organisations I'm on. I only do things that I enjoy doing. So it doesn't feel like work when you enjoy it.
What is your lowest salary you for you?
Yeah, so at the Pharmacy Guild, I am what's called a national councillor. So it's being on the national board of the Pharmacy Guild, which is a union that represents owners of community pharmacies. And one of my roles with the Pharmacy Guild is I'm chair of what's called the Health, Economics and Policy Committee. What we do is help lead engagement with the government on stuff to do with payment of PBS medicines, so stuff that is subsidised on our pharmaceutical benefit scheme, and different programs that pharmacies get paid for. So my job, I often have to go to Canberra and talk to the government around funding for medicines and pharmacy programs. So it often involves having to go to Parliament House and meeting the Health Minister and their office, and I've even had meetings in the Prime Minister's office before, which was kind of cool as well. So it's pretty involved.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in a place called Mildura, which is in northwestern Victoria. It's on the border of Victoria and New South Wales, and I lived there till I was 18 and then came down to Melbourne to study pharmacy and have stayed here ever since.
Did you always want to be a pharmacist?
I didn't always want to be a pharmacist. It was actually quite late in high school that I chose to do pharmacy. I've always been interested in science and chemistry. I wanted to be a winemaker for a fair while, and then I got my end of year 12 results, which were pretty good, and I thought, you know what, I should give pharmacy a go, and that's what I chose. But I've always been interested in winemaking, and I don't mind drinking the occasional glass of wine too.
Who's your favourite job?
What I like about being a pharmacist is helping people and helping people understand their medicines. So medicines can be really useful to help treat health conditions, but not every medicine's right for every person. So it's about trying to help them understand how to take it and help keep them healthy. And it's important that, you know, whatever job that people do, they do something that they're really interested in. So I've always liked things to do with science and being around people trying to help them.
I like Disney movies.
Well, my favourite Disney movie would have to be Toy Story.
That's my favourite too.
Is that your favourite as well?
Yes.
You know, I don't know if they needed to make 4 of them, but it's okay. They've all been pretty good in their own way, but I love Toy Story because it reminds me of when I was a kid playing with toys and, you know, imagining what they got up to when we weren't there, and they all had their own life. So I thought that's a really cool movie.
So what's your favourite band?
I have a couple of different bands I really like. They're from the 90s, so I'm showing my age now. Pearl Jam and Green Day are 2 of my favourite bands, and I was lucky enough I got to see them in concert in the past 12 months. So I went and saw Pearl Jam last year, and I took my 17-year-old son to see Green Day earlier this year, and he likes them as well.
Did you have listened to your podcast for something?
There is a podcast I listen to a lot, particularly when I walk my dog, when I take them out for a walk. I listen to a podcast, it's called Masterclass, and they have different guests on from former US presidents like Bill Clinton, or CIA agents who are spies, or managers for NBA basketball players, and there's all sorts of different cool stuff that they talk about in terms of leadership, negotiation. So it's a really great podcast that I love listening to.
Who would you invite to dinner and why?
I think I would invite, I don't know if you've ever heard of him, Ricky Gervais. Have you heard of him?
No, I haven't.
Okay. He is a British comedian, and he's written some really cool TV shows called The Office, and he's been a host at the Golden Globe Awards and things like that. I think he would be a really entertaining dinner guest. He's very funny, but he's very smart and a deep thinker, so he would be a really good guest to be with.
What would you cook for him?
I really like pasta. So I cook a really nice spaghetti bolognese, or carbonara. Yum. With homemade pasta is the best. I'd make pasta with a nice glass of red wine, and maybe for main course, steak with some roast vegetables.
Oh, yummy.
Yeah?
You're making me hungry.
Maybe you should come to dinner with Ricky and I. More the merrier.
What are your favourite hobbies and why?
I like to play music, so I play bass guitar and occasionally acoustic guitar. I love taking my dog for a walk. It's where I do my clearest thinking, and it's really relaxing. And I like taking my family to go and watch football, AFL. I'm a Collingwood supporter, so we like going to the football and listening to music. They're my hobbies.
Are you afraid of heights?
I'm not, personally. My wife is terrified of heights. She gets sweaty palms when we go up, even in a Ferris wheel. But I like fast rides, so does my daughter Ella.
Where's your favourite place to travel?
I like Southeast Asia because it's places like Vietnam and Thailand and Bali, because my kids like it and get into it as well. Well, I've got an upcoming family trip to Japan actually, so I'm really looking forward to that. So I do like all sorts of different places, but I do like Asian countries. I like their culture and their food a lot.
Did you have any pets as a kid?
I did. I grew up on a vineyard in Mildura, and my favourite pet growing up was a cat, this white cat. We called him Jerry. I didn't like the name Tom. If you've ever heard of Tom and Jerry, the cartoon characters, yeah, and I love that show. I like the name Jerry, so I called my cat Jerry. And he would roam the farm and hunt rabbits and even snakes. He was a pretty brutal, hardcore cat.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I hope and I do see myself being happy doing whatever I'm doing, because I only ever do things I enjoy. So I think I will still be a pharmacist, and I still think I'll be doing volunteer work in the community, doing things that I enjoy. I'll be getting involved with whatever my 3 kids are doing, whether they're doing sport or other hobbies, and going to watch and support them with my wife. But I'm sure I'll be happy as long as I'm healthy. There is an old saying actually that I love to live by, and that is, to have health is to have hope, and to have hope is to have everything. So as long as you've got your health, that's the main thing.
Do you see yourself having any more animals?
Well, I've got a cavoodle, and her name is Betty, and I take her for walks most days, and I love doing that. She is one of my best friends, and I can't see myself getting any other pets while she's with us, because she's the queen of the house at the moment.
Why do you wear a white jacket?
Honestly, I actually don't know, to be honest with you. There used to be this American TV show, and there was a character called Ben Casey. He was a health-related medical character or person, and he wore a jacket like this, and this style of jacket is called a Ben Casey. So if you said asked a pharmacist, do you wear a Ben Casey, they would know that you're talking about this type of jacket. I guess it helps identify that we are the pharmacist.
Do you have time to take holidays? I know that you are really, really busy.
You're right, I am busy, but you have to make time to take some breaks. So yes, I do get time to have holidays. I've got an upcoming holiday with my family. We're going to Japan, which will be really cool. And last summer, I took my kids to the Gold Coast, to the theme parks. We got worlded. I call it being worlded, because we went to Dream World and we went to Movie World, and they got to go on all the fast rides.
So you went to lots of movie worlds and dream worlds and things.
That's right. So that was really cool. It's important that everyone gets a break at some time, because you need to recharge and clear your mind sometimes.
Anthony, how important is it to get the right dosage, the right medication to the right person, and what's the process behind that?
Ben, you've just nailed what pharmacists need to do. That's exactly the important role we have. It's important that the right person gets the right medicine at the right dose, so it's safe for them, because medicines are there to help people get better. We don't want them causing side effects or making them more sick. Our training as pharmacists goes into becoming medicine experts, so that we know what the right thing is for the right person. So it's really important that we get that right. That's the most important thing that we do as pharmacists. So we never stop learning, because there's more and more new medicines coming out. So it's important that we continue our development and our learning, so we can keep up to date with things.
Do you have to learn how to read doctors' writing?
It's a fine art, I have to say. It takes some practice. We are pretty good at it, but more and more prescriptions these days are becoming computer generated, or even online scripts that get sent to your phone. So we have to read doctors' writing less these days, but I have to admit, back in my early days when I was learning to be a pharmacist, it was a real challenge.
Where do you see the history of prescriptions, and do you see them all being on the phone, or when phones evolve? How do you all see that playing out?
I think that prescriptions will eventually be probably all electronic, or very few will be in paper form, and that you can access them from your phone, or you can give the pharmacy permission, which we can do this today. You can give a pharmacy permission to look them up online in case you've lost a prescription on your phone, or a message from the doctor. So that's pretty cool to help people get their medicines.
You're a very busy pharmacist, but sometimes there are times where you're not so busy. How do you keep occupied while you're working?
There's always something to do at work. One of my old bosses said to me, a time to lean is a time to clean, which meant that if you're quiet, there's something that you can always do. But if it is a bit quieter, I like to talk to my staff about what are they getting up to on the weekend, a bit of small talk about their families, because it's important that you get to know your team and the people you work with, and probably in the downtime, if there is ever at the pharmacy, having a chat to my pharmacy colleagues and team about how they're going, because it's always good to connect with them.
How important is it to have a good relationship between the people that compound the medication and the pharmacist?
So whatever you do, whether it's playing any sort of sport or any sort of job or any sorts of activity, it's about the team, because you can only achieve so much yourself, and the best things in life the most successful things that you can do will be as part of a team.
What's your busiest time of the year?
Busiest time of the year usually is in December, heading into Christmas. In pharmacy land, we call that safety net season. And what that means is when patients have a certain number of prescriptions for the year, they might reach what's called the safety net and their medicines come down in price. They could be free. So when they become free and they're on the safety net, people make sure they get prescriptions before the end of the year so they have enough stock of it. So safety net season is December in pharmacy, and it's usually really busy.
With the pricing, is it hard to manage all of that? Because we know, PBS is always changing, and the price of medication's always changing. How do you keep it on top of all that?
Yeah, it's a really good question. The prices that we buy stock in can change. They can fluctuate or reduce. So we have to manage our stock really carefully and keep on top of it. The computer systems we have do help with that. Another busy time of the year is during winter, when people get flu vaccines, because my pharmacy gives out flu vaccines or flu shots, so that's a really busy time of year as well. But it's really important to keep on top of how much medicine stock you have, including vaccine stock, so that you have enough for when people need it.
What's the process of getting stock?
So we have a main supplier that we order from, a wholesaler that delivers to us 6 days a week from Monday through Saturday. So we can order something one day and it comes the next day, every day except for Sunday, which is pretty cool. And that happens across Australia, that our wholesaler pharmaceutical distribution system is that good that you can pretty much get a medicine most places in Australia within 24 hours, which is a really cool thing that people can get access to important medicines.
Thank you for your time, Anthony. Interviewing you has been an insightful experience for all of us. We congratulate you on many years of study and your achievement, and we thank you for your work and experience.